If you're a health of a life coach and you enjoy knowing what goes on behind the scenes of other coaches' businesses, just like mine, then this is the episode of the show for you. I'm going to share a bit of a behind the scenes look at what's been going on in my business and in my life since the start of 2026. Let's dive in. Hi there, welcome to the Wholehearted Business Show. I'm Laura. I help heart-centered and highly sensitive health and life coaches get more clients, grow their income and live the best lives while they do it. And today on the show, I'm sharing a bit of a behind the scenes update chat about things that I've been getting up to in life and business since the start of 2026. I do these kind of episodes of the show every so often, usually twice a year, where I just share a bit of what goes on behind the scenes. A lot of the episodes of the show that I share are informative, hopefully very helpful, giving you some things to think about, things that you can do in your business. This is just me chatting about what I've got going on in my own life and the business side of things as well, obviously, what that kind of looks like from behind the scenes. Now, obviously, I'm a business coach and mentor. My business is slightly different from a business to consumer coach, like a health of a life coach, but hopefully there's a lot of things that you can take from the things that I'm going to share today. I share these behind the scenes look at my business and life every 6 months or so. The last one was, which I'll link to, was my 2025 review. I also can hardly believe that I'm doing this half year review already. It feels like it's come on really fast. And lots of stuff's been going on in life and business. And I think first of all with the business, like 2025 was a really amazing income year for me. It was fantastic. This year has been a little bit slower so far. And I think there's lots of different reasons for that. I think that the industry is changing, as lots of people have been talking about. Lots of people have had a bit of a slowdown. However, that doesn't bother me that much. I can understand where it's come from. And also the fact that I've been doing this for now 14 years, like my business is still standing after 14 years. There's not many business owners or coaches who can say that after 14 years. So it has given me a lot of self-trust, and I'm not anyway panicking. Like, it's still, like, my income's still really good. It's just not quite where it was last year, and that's okay. There's been reasons for that I can understand and see, and that I know how to change. So it's just to reflect on that. And I think, again, I could be one of those bullshit business coaches who's, I've made like all this money and everything's absolutely fine, when in reality it's not. And I think that there are just shifts happening in the industry in terms of what works for marketing, all sorts of different things that is making a difference. But I know that where I am getting my results, they are coming from the foundational things that I'm doing. And those are often the things that I do teach about as well, that do work for other people's businesses as well. So a little bit slower, but still really amazing and still really good. So to go back to the start of the year, I think January was quite relaxed. And then in February, I ran a live workshop all around energy. So this was a bit out of left field for me. It was a bit different to what I've usually done. And in all honesty, I didn't sell loads of places on that training, but the people who did do it found it absolutely amazing. So that was really lovely. And it was just a bit experimental. And I think it really helped me summarize and understand things for myself as well. Just actually putting it into that format was really useful. And again, that has gone into Wholehearted Business. It's available for people in Wholehearted Business now as well. And I think that it's such an overlooked part of running a business, is like, how are we managing our energy and what does that look like on a day-to-day basis? And not just like in your business, but it expands into your whole life as well. And I gave some really personal examples in that training. So I really enjoyed delivering that, really enjoyed putting it together. Didn't sell as many as I would have liked, but still really happy that I did it. And sometimes in business, I've said this for a long time, you've got to have like that energy of playfulness, experimentation, of fun, to see what happens and see what sticks and what doesn't. So I was really happy to deliver that. I found it really helpful, even just personally, me putting it out there. In fact, sometimes what I find really helpful is listening back or watching back things that I've done before and reminding myself of these things. So I might well do that at some point. But yeah, that was really great. And I did that in February. And then in March, I had a launch for Wholehearted Business, which was great. I think I had 6 new people join in that launch, which for me, again, is very much like a typical number, not as high as I would have liked, but still really good. And again, gave me some thoughts about what I want to do for the next launch of Wholehearted Business. But that was great to launch that. I did a 3-day pop-up program called Coaching Packages That Sell, and I also delivered my kind of core webinar, which I love to deliver. I have spent a lot of time creating that webinar. It's really informative, really helpful, really well structured, and I delivered that as part of that training and just really enjoyed it. One of the other things that I did with that 3-day kind of conversion event is that I had on the back end of it, it was free to sign up. I gave a lot of value, and I do give a lot of value in the stuff that I offer for free, including this show. I try and do that because it feels really good to do that, and I also know that it doesn't stop people wanting to work with me in a paid capacity, because I know that you can consume all of this free content. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to put that into action without the support of someone there, depending on who you are and what your circumstances are. But I put out that 3-day program for free, and on the back end of that there was an upsell to purchase a week of Voxer coaching with me. I think it was like $11 or something, and that sold really well. That was a nice little experiment to see how many people upgraded into that option, and quite a few people did, and it was really nice to be able to have conversations with people as part of that program and as part of that week, because I'm a big believer that having conversations with people and having connections with people is one of the best things you can do to actually get clients in your business. So that worked really well as a little strategy to have those conversations with people and to build those connections. And I'm also a big believer that even if people don't become clients right away, and I was having a conversation with a client of mine this morning. We were talking about this, and she was saying, I signed up to work with you one-to-one pretty much as soon as I came across you via YouTube, I think it was, because I just knew that you were the person for me. And that comes down to lots of different things, lots of different strategies that I've employed over a number of years that make that happen with people. It was really nice to hear from her how that had worked, because that's intentional. I set that up intentionally using the strategies that I use in the business. So it was really lovely to hear that she converted into a client very quickly. But also sometimes people take longer. They're just not in the situation where they're ready to work with someone one-to-one immediately, or to enroll in a higher ticket program, or whatever that might look like. So I'm a big believer in having these conversations with people and knowing that, and trusting, and again, this is something ironically I talked about in the energetic workshop, and just trusting that if someone's meant to work with me, they will come back to me at the right time. And I think what that allows me to do is not get bogged down in the feelings of desperation or clinginess or that grippiness I often talk about, that sometimes we can find when we just really want a client because we want to get a client so that we feel like our business is working, so that it validates us, all of those things. And being able to have that energy with those conversations was really lovely. And obviously not everyone who I had those conversations with became a client in Wholehearted Business, but who knows how they might work with me in the future. So it feels like a really lovely thing to have put out there. So that was amazing. Really happy with the launch that I had for Wholehearted Business. I've got a fantastic group of people in there. I have people who have stayed on, so I've got quite a few recurring clients in there. In fact, I've got quite a number of people that I'm working with at the moment who stay on and continue to work with me, which I find is a really nice reminder that I am given a really great service. And I think, again, I did an episode of the show a little while ago talking about client retention. And I think for a long time I thought, oh, if people want to continue work with me, does that mean that I haven't getting them results, or what does that mean? But that actually is not the case at all. People continue to work with me because they value all of the things that I bring to the conversation with them, my expertise, my experience, my support, not just getting to a very specific outcome. So that was really lovely to see that, and just to recognise that I've got a certain number of people who are still in my world, which is amazing. So that's really lovely. And then around Easter, around the springtime, I did a promotion for my searchable show method. So this is one of the programmes that I'm most proud of, that is really comprehensive, that teaches exactly how I do this show as a foundational marketing strategy. I absolutely love that programme. And around about the same time, I had a conversation with one of my business besties, Michelle Ponver, and we sat down and did a little bit of like business masterminding together. And I really looked at the whole structure of my business. Now, I'm still yet to actually action a lot of this for many different reasons, but some of the big actions that I need to put in place in my business around letting go of some different programs and things like that, putting everything in a Wholehearted Business, not having certain things available for sale anymore. There were some big conversations that I had with Michelle that helped me understand those things. So that was brilliant. We did that. very clear that I wanted the Searchable Show method to be a standalone program that was still offered because I adore it, and I think it teaches something so foundational and so special and important that I want to have that available. So I did a little spring promo on that, sold a few places on that, which has just been fantastic, and I've really loved that I've had that. And then more recently, going into May, I have been promoting Cozy Business Systems, and that's been really good fun. So alongside all those things happening, I went through my own little kind of journey with AI, and I think I've talked about this on episodes of the show. I was very anti-AI for a really long time because everything it produced was shit, and then got into Claude. Like, I know it's a whole thing. I know that all the coaches are getting into Claude. Everyone's talking about Claude, blah, blah, blah. But there's a reason why they're talking about Claude, because it is really good and it can work so much better than ChatGPT. On my own kind of journey with Claude, I've really optimized that in my business and just like fine-tuned a lot of things. So at the start of the year, I knew that there was some delivery and organizational things that I wanted to improve in the business in terms of like my client support, my processes and stuff in the background. And a lot of that has been happening with the support of Claude. And again, that is exactly what I'm teaching in Cozy Business Systems, which is starting as this episode goes out. So that's all been amazing. Really enjoyed promoting that. I've had quite a few people sign up for that. So far as I record this, we still haven't closed the cart yet, but it's been really great to get so much interest in that program. So I'm really excited about delivering that. Other little things in the background. So I have been running paid ads for quite a while now. I've been running ads to my free client portal template that I've got that I use in Notion. I've been running ads to that. They have always worked pretty well, getting new people onto my list. However, the kind of back end funnel stuff I haven't really done a lot with. So I decided to press pause on those ads and to rebuild out a new funnel. And again, this is part of the reorganisation work that I've done with Michelle and having her as a thinking partner. So that's something that I will be working on over the summer, is refining that funnel, getting something new out there as my kind of lead magnet / low ticket offer, and bringing people into my ecosystem that way. And I've got a few programs that I want to watch. I think the thing with business, and again, I've talked about this in the Cozy Business program promotion, is there's always more that you could be doing. There's always more things that you could be watching, more trainings that you could do, and being able to decide what to do at the right time and where to put your energy at the right time is one of those skills that you have to develop as a business owner. So I have got access to so many different paid programs. I have got loads of different support. It's just structuring my time, and this has been a challenge, and I'll talk a bit more about this in a second when we get onto the life stuff. This has been a bit of a challenge, has been structuring my time, and I think I've been through quite a few life shifts over the past few months, and I'm always just trying to find a new rhythm for myself and the business. And again, because the business kind of really interlinks and flows with my life really impacts it. So there's been quite a few things to kind of look at there, but I've got programs and stuff that I know that I need to watch, do, take part in, get sorted in. I know how I work really well. Again, these are all things that we're going to be covering in Cozy Business Systems. So that knowledge is really helpful. And I think looking ahead, I'll round up a bit more about future plans in a second, but looking further ahead, I know where I need to be putting my time and energy and effort to get better results in the last half of 2026. So I feel quite excited about that, and yeah, just really positive about it all, but we'll come on to that in a second. So onto the life stuff, and I always like to share a bit of life stuff. I'm someone who has shared a lot of stuff about my life online over the last 10, 12 years. I started off as a blog and shared lots of personal stuff on the blog. So I think I have shared in some of these personal updates over the last kind of couple of years, really, our last few months, is that I've been through some really big life stuff. I have gone through a divorce, although I'm still going through the divorce. That's still about to be finalised, from my partner, who I was with for 20 years, who I've got 2 children with. We still get on really well. We've had a few ups and downs, but we still get on really well. That separation has taken a long time. It took a while for him to move out. It then took a while for him to eventually be able to have the children in his own space. So he was seeing the children here, and that's only very recently changed. So within the last kind of 2 months has he actually been able to have the children at his place. So he was coming here, and again, it was really positive that we mostly got on, but has been a challenging. I started dating back in like September, October 2025, met someone wonderful, had an amazing few months with him, and unfortunately that didn't work out, but I'm okay and I'm living my life and lots of positive things have happened as a result of it. But that's happened. So I was spending a lot of time with my ex, like the more recent ex, going to stay with him. He lived down in Leeds, so there was a bit of a long distance thing. So that kind of finished, and that kind of routine that I had there with him and the way that everything was working together was quite routine. I would see him every other weekend. I would have the kids. I kind of had that pattern, and then all of that kind of shifted. So all that changed when we broke up. And right at the same time was the time that my longer term, my ex-husband, could start to have the kids at his place. So all of a sudden, I had every other weekend completely free in my own house. And yeah, it was, oh, okay, I've suddenly got all this time. And it did come with a bit of a, oh shit, am I going to be really lonely? Oh my God, I've not been in this position yet. All this kind of stuff. And it's actually been amazing. So I have been on a mission to live my best possible life over the past few months since that situation has happened and since I've had this time on my hands. And it's been a real opportunity, I think, for me to just double down on the things that really make me enjoy my life, actually. And it's been a fantastic opportunity. So I've done things like, I'd never been to the cinema by myself before. That was just a thing that I just hadn't done. And I've done that now. I've got an Odeon pass. I can go whenever I want. I went and did a solo hike. So I love hiking and walking. But it was one of those things that just didn't really happen with anyone else. And I got to that point, I was just like, actually, I do have friends who would have come with me on that and who did want to come with me. But I was like, I want to do this by myself. I think it's something that I need to do. So I went and did a solo hike in the Lake District in England, climbed up a mountain, felt absolutely incredible at the end of it that I'd actually achieved this thing, like such a massive, epic confidence boost. Went to this place called Poolbridge Farm in York, which is like this wild swimming paradise. Oh my God. Went to this fantastic place with a friend. And again, I am really lucky that I have got just some of the most incredible friendships. And I think this most recent, the big breakup with my ex-husband and then this more recent breakup has really reminded me just how amazing my friends are and how everyone came out for me and supported me with everything. And I'm just incredibly lucky to have those women in my life, and they are just absolutely amazing. So I've been doing more things on my own, but also kind of knowing that I don't have to do them on my own. I've got friends there who would want to be there and do things with me if I wanted to, and I've got more than enough friends to fill all my weekends up with if I wanted to. But I think it's important to me that I do things on my own. So there's been lots of different things on my own, which I had been doing before, and either of the breakups really, but lots of things on my own, lots of new things, lots of exciting things, just like basically living my best life. And also really embracing the fact that I do run a business where I get to decide when and where I work and trying to make the most of that. So for example, as I record this, next week, I'm taking a day out during the week to go to the Lake District and climb another mountain. I'm doing this with a friend this time, and then we're going to have a spa evening in the Lake District after we've climbed Helvellyn. That's the plan, if the weather's okay and everything. So that's amazing. And like last week, I went down to this Poolbridge Farm, this wild swimming place, midweek. So it's really nice to be able to make the most of the fact that I've got this incredible business that gives me that freedom to do these things as and when I want to do them. However, the challenge that comes with that, as I was saying, is I need to really look at the structure of my business and when I'm doing certain things and what my working time is and what I need to do to work best around all of these life things that I want to do, and finding that balance. And I think it shifts. It's obviously shifted with the changes that I've had recently. Again, I'm no longer spending every other weekend with my ex-partner now. I've got lots more time on the weekend, which I could do working, but I don't really want to. But it's all kind of balancing that out. And I think I've talked about again before that I plan my time in mini seasons, and really which are like the terms for the kids. So right now we're in the final term, half term of the school year. We'll be going into the 6-week summer holidays. And I need to look at my structure for my weeks for each of those. And I've tried to just blanket it and just think, right, this is what I want my routine to look like forever, or not forever, but for now, rather than actually like allowing it to shift and change. And over the summer, I do want to make the most of the nice weather. This week as I record this is like a heat wave in the UK. I want to be at the beach. I want to be going for a swim. I want to be doing all these amazing things now while I have the opportunity to do them while the weather's amazing. So it's balancing those things out, basically, is what we want to be doing. So there's a bit of a recap with quite a lot of stuff that's been going on personally. So like I say, still in the divorce process, starting to feel ready to date again after the more recent 6-month relationship ended. I feel like I'm ready to do that again, although with so much more learning and understanding about what I need, which is a beautiful thing. I've also booked in to get a new tattoo. That's not going to happen until September, but I'm going to get a new tattoo right here, and I'm going to get some ones on my hands as well, which I'm really excited about. I have not had a tattoo done in many years, so this is going to be my first one in a while, so I'm so excited about getting that done. That's all booked in for September. I also went on holiday as well, so this was amazing. This was like in May, half term. I went to Mallorca with my 2 kids and my mum and my aunt, and that was incredible, and we had such a good time. It was the kids' first holiday abroad, and it was just fantastic. We had a fantastic time. So amazing to have that. So yeah, I think that's all of the life updates. Also, my son, I think I mentioned in previous episodes that my son Finley was diagnosed with epilepsy last year, and thankfully, touch wood, we are all good. He's on medication that is working. He's had no further seizures. He's over a year seizure free now, and I am just so incredibly grateful that we are okay at the moment. That has been all right, because that was 2025. It was a fantastic year in the business, as I was saying. Personally, a lot of it was absolutely horrendous. It was really hard going. And although this year's had its ups and downs so far, I am really hopeful that things will only look up from here. And I think you've just got to have that attitude. I think this is one of the things I've been sitting with lately, and again, I talked about this at the end of 2025, was this kind of like just being able to flow with where life has taken you and not to get too attached to things. And that's very difficult for someone like me who really struggles with uncertainty. My nervous system, the way that I'm wired, like I do much better with certainty and know what's going to happen. And I think a lot of us who are highly sensitive and heart-centered are a bit wired like that sometimes. And it's been really difficult. And what I've realised ultimately is that I can't keep putting off my happiness until X, Y, and Z happens. So I can't keep saying to myself, when my business makes 10k months, I'm going to be happy. Or when I find my soulmate, I'm going to be happy. Or when this happens, I'm going to be happy. Because that's not how it works. And I know that from the past. Like I know that when I've had things, I've wanted things in my life and I've manifested them. And again, what's a really nice thing that I've reflected on this year is that there's been things in my life that I never thought I would have, and I have them. I have that trust that things will work out the way that they're meant to work out. And there was a time when I didn't think I was going to have children. I didn't have a cycle. There was a whole thing. I didn't think I was going to have children. I've got 2 beautiful, amazing children right now. In one point in my life, I just did not think I was going to have kids. I'm in a house, sitting in a house right now, recording this in a garage conversion, in an office conversion that I never dreamt I would have at one point in my life. And this is something that happens, and I'm learning to trust things a lot better, but also recognising that at one point I was like, I'll never be happy until I get the house. I'll never be happy until I have kids, or I won't be happy without children or whatever. But I think as long as you go searching for happiness in something outside of yourself, you'll never quite be satisfied. And what I'm trying to sit with at the moment is, how can I make choices right now that make me happy right now, instead of just keep putting it out to something that will eventually happen. And it's really difficult as someone who is very goal orientated, very type A, very highly sensitive. Like, it's very easy for me to put these things, I keep feeling like I having to strive for something else outside of myself to make myself happy, and I don't think that's very helpful for me. So figuring that out and just really allowing that to come in and sit in for me has been really useful over the past few months. It's like, I can't keep putting off my happiness until something or someone or whatever situation randomly happens. I've got to make that choice now. So just a big realisation that I've had, everyone. Going through the things that I've been through over the past year or so, which by the most part is not that bad. And I keep reminding myself, Jesus, Laura, like, none of this is terrible. Yes, it's been difficult to deal with, and yes, divorce is awful. Having a sick child and worrying about whether or not they're going to wake up the next morning is absolutely awful. Going through a breakup is not fun, but in the grand scheme of things, I am incredibly lucky, and I try and come back to that gratitude as often as I can, even when it feels really hard. And yeah, sometimes it feels really hard. So there we have it. That is a bit of a long chat about some of the stuff that I've had going on in life and business. And I think I do love sharing these episodes of the show, and I really hope that you find them helpful. Please do let me know. Please comment, email me back. It would be really great to know if any of this is interesting to you or helpful in some way. And I think that, again, it's really easy to not know all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes for someone in their life. And I always try and share quite transparently that there's no reason not to. I always hope that by me sharing something that I've got going on, it makes someone else feel a little bit less alone. So yes, so there we have it. That is a bit of an update on life and business so far, up until halfway through the year. And next things that I'm hoping that will come up, the plans that I've got. So obviously we've got the summer holidays. It's a logistical, massive thing for me to plan for as a mum of 2 school-aged children. Big thing for me to plan. I've also got my eldest who is moving from primary into secondary, so that's a huge transition for him to go through that I want to be supporting him with. So we've got all of that stuff going through. Business wise, I'll be opening the doors to Wholehearted Business. I have got the opportunity to join Wholehearted Business outside of launches in a very specific way. So if you have been thinking, now's the time I want to get some support in my business, just drop me an email, drop me a comment, get in touch somehow, because there is an option, just to say there's a cheeky little option for you to work with me in a certain way. Anyway, we'll say that. So get in touch if you've been thinking about working with me, having my support in your business. Now's the time to get in touch and see what the options are. But yes, going into September, I will be doing another launch for Wholehearted Business. That will be reopening. I'll be building out a new funnel. I'll be having some new things available. One of the other things that I've been sitting with and feel, and this is probably much further, I'm saying this now to remind myself when I come back to this. This is probably much further down the line, but I am wanting to do some new training and some new learning, and I'm really interested in doing some training to be a counsellor or a psychotherapist. So just a massive big thing, but I've been sitting with this for a while. I trained as a coach many years ago. I don't tend to coach a lot. I'm saying that actually I probably do coach quite a lot. I'm more mentor. That I've talked about the difference between coach and mentoring before. But I'm finding that there's a bit of a pull in me towards wanting to work with people in a different way. And maybe it's about the stuff that I've been through. Maybe it's about the counselling that I've had and the therapy that I've had personally that is making me feel drawn towards that. Now, this might completely change. Now's not the time in my life right now to be looking at doing a new training course or doing more education. But I do think that perhaps in 2027, that might be something that I want to do, because I am feeling this pull to work with people in a different way and explore some of the themes that have been coming up in my life with other people that I know other people experience as well. And yeah, I feel like I've got a lot I could offer from that perspective. So I'm sitting with that, which is quite exciting. So yes, there will be new things coming in September. New ways to work with me, new offers, all sorts of fantastic stuff, which I'm really excited to do. Ultimately, I think my work here in this space is all about supporting highly sensitive and heart-centered people who do not resonate with the kind of 6-figure hustle, bro marketing kind of space around coaching, who want to coach ethically, who want to build their businesses on sustainable marketing methods that aren't going to burn them out. That's what my work here in the world is for you guys, because that is been me. And I get to sit here after 14 years of running a coaching business, ultimately coaching mentoring business, being able to enjoy all the stuff that I enjoy in my life. And I want to help other people do that. If I can help a handful of people do that, I will be very happy, because it completely changes your life. It has completely changed mine. So if I can support more people to do that, that is my mission. That's what I want to do. So that's what I'm here for. And ultimately, whatever I'm putting out in towards the end of the year is for that. And again, Wholehearted Business is the best place to be. Again, get on the wait list for that if you are interested in working with me and having my support in your business. And, you know, at the end of the day, often I talk about life stuff with my clients because this stuff isn't separate. And I'm not saying that I'm going to sit there and be your therapist or your counsellor, but these things are very difficult to separate, and I'm available to have those conversations about the messy middle and where these things meet. So yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. I really hope that's been useful. Get on the waitlist for Wholehearted Business. If you are interested in working with me sooner, there are opportunities to do that, probably at the best rates that you might get in touch with us now before things go up in September. And yeah, I hope that you are so well. If you have enjoyed this episode, like I say, please do get in touch. It means so much to me if you have spent the last half an hour listening to me talking about my personal life and my business. Please do get in touch. Let me know if it's been helpful. You can DM me on Instagram. I'm at wholeheartedlylaura on Instagram. If you're watching on YouTube, please leave me a comment below. You can email me, laura@wholeheartedlylaura.com as well, and I will always respond. So thank you so much, guys, for being here, and I will be back next week. Take care. Bye.